Story of the Whispering Forest Mirage. Chapter 1. The Forbidden Forest. Opening scene. Grandmother's legend. Beware the forest, Layan. Its shadows swallow those who dare to challenge it, whispered Grandmother Isabel, ending her nightly tales as Layan tossed in bed, imagining how trees could come alive. The next morning, Layan decided to uncover the truth herself. She grabbed a small knife from the kitchen, a handful of wheat grains for food, and tied her long hair with a colorful ribbon. She was ready for adventure. The Golden Butterfly. The first gateway. While wandering near the village edge, Layan noticed something glowing among the fig trees. A golden butterfly the size of her palm, its wings shimmering like stars. She chased it through the fields, but the butterfly was faster. Suddenly, it landed on a rock carved with a strange symbol. A 7-petaled flower, each petal adorned with a dewdrop etched in perfect detail. The butterfly glowed brightly, as if opening an invisible gate, then vanished. Before Layan, a narrow path appeared, covered with thorny plants, leading to a wall of thick mist. This was the beginning of the Forbidden Forest. Whispers of the wind. The mysterious invitation. As her foot touched the first leaves of the forest, an icy wind blew, carrying a soft, feminine voice. Layan, we've been waiting for you. Despite her fear, Layan felt a strange force pulling her deeper. With every step, the sounds grew louder, the rustling of branches like children's laughter, the babbling of water, calling her name, shadows stretching and shrinking, as if watching her. The first encounter. The talking tree. In the heart of the forest, Layan stood before an ancient tree wrapped in green light. Suddenly, its branches moved, forming a human-like face wrinkled with age. It spoke in a voice resembling Grandmother Isabel's. You are the first to reach here in 200 years. This is only the beginning. Layan tried to ask questions, but the tree's trunk suddenly split open, releasing a cloud of golden butterflies that drew a glowing map in the air. The map pointed to a cave beneath a mountain of darknessy, where the legendary treasure lay. The final warning, the forest's curse. Before Layan could leave, a fierce wind roared, warning her. If you do not return before sunset, you will become one of us forever. Layan looked at the sky. It was noon, but the sun in the forest was black. Was this magic, or was time itself different here? The surprise. Traces of blood. As she prepared to leave the tree, Layan noticed something on a nearby rock, dried drops of blood leading toward the cave. Beside it lay a rusted hairpin engraved with an ancient name, Eleanor, a name Layan had heard in her grandmother's tales of a girl who vanished decades ago. Had Eleanor been here before? What had happened to her? Chapter ending. A point of no return, Layan decided to ignore her fear and follow the butterfly's map. But at a dark turn, she heard a faint moan coming from the cave. A sound like a child's cry. The camera pulls away as Layan disappears into the darkness, the thorny plants closing the path behind her forever. Chapter 2. Golden Eyes and Living Branches. Entering the deep forest after disappearing into the darkness, Layan found herself in another part of the forest, where the trees were denser and the air colder. Thick fog enveloped everything, but the green light she had seen near the ancient tree glowed faintly in the distance. As if guiding her, she heard a faint voice. Follow the light, but beware the mirage. Layan didn't know where the voice came from, but she decided to follow the light. Encounter with the mirage. Golden Eyes. As she walked, she noticed a slight movement among the branches. Suddenly, golden eyes appeared, staring at her from the darkness. They belonged to translucent, shadow-like creatures, but denser and more defined. One of them spoke in a soft yet eerie voice. You are here because the forest chose you. But being chosen is no guarantee of survival. Layan tried to speak, but the mirage vanished quickly, leaving behind a strange scent resembling rotting flowers. Living Branches. The first test Layan continued walking until she reached an area where the trees were more active. The branches moved like giant arms trying to grab her. Suddenly, the ground beneath her split open, and she almost fell into a deep pit. She heard the ancient tree's voice again. The forest is testing you. If you succeed, you will find the path to the treasure. Quickly, Layan used her colorful rope to tie herself to a nearby branch and climb to safety. Discovering the secret map? When she reached a safe spot, Layan noticed the green light was coming from a small stone carved with the same 7-petaled flower symbol. When she touched it, the stone opened, revealing a detailed map of the forest, showing a secret path to the cave of the Dark Mountain. But the map also carried a warning. Those who enter the cave may never return. First encounter with danger. As she studied the map, Layan heard heavy footsteps approaching. From among the trees emerged a beast of tangled roots, its eyes glowing red and its mouth filled with thorns. Layan ran, but the beast was faster. In a moment of despair, she remembered the stone she had found. When she held it up toward the beast, it emitted a green light that temporarily blinded the creature, giving her a chance to escape. Chapter ending. Approaching the cave. After escaping the beast, Layan found herself at the foot of the dark mountain. The cave was before her, its entrance covered with thorny branches resembling giant arms. She heard a faint moan coming from inside the cave, the same sound she had heard before. She looked at the map, then at the cave, and knew she had to enter. But before she could step forward, she heard the Mirage's voice again. The cave is not what it seems. Beware what lies within. Chapter 3. The Cave of the Dark Mountain. At the cave's entrance, Layan stood at the cave's entrance, staring into the thick darkness within. The thorny branches covering the entrance resembled giant arms trying to block her way. She heard the faint moan again, as if calling her from the depths. She whispered to herself, "I've come this far. I can't turn back now." With a racing heart, she stepped inside, entering the cave. A world of darkness and secrets inside the cave. The air was cold and damp. The walls were covered in strange carvings, resembling the symbols she had seen on the rock. The green light from the stone she carried illuminated her path, but the darkness seemed to swallow the light with every step. She heard the sound of flowing water nearby, as if there was a river somewhere. But as she approached, she discovered the sound came from a river of liquid light, flowing across the floor like a path of stars. Encounter with the Mirage inside the cave. Suddenly, the Mirage appeared again, their golden eyes glowing in the dark. One of them said, "You are on the right path, but the cave holds unimaginable secrets." Layan asked, "What secrets?" The Mirage replied, "The cave is a gateway to another world, a world where time stands still and souls seek their salvation." Before she could ask more, the Mirage vanished, leaving behind a strange scent resembling rotting flowers. Discovering the secret chamber, Layan followed the river of light until she reached a large chamber, its ceiling covered in glowing crystals resembling stars. In the center of the room stood a stone altar, atop which rested a small golden box. As she approached, she noticed the box was locked with a 7-petaled flower-shaped lock. Remembering the stone she carried, she placed it inside the lock. The box opened slowly, revealing a shiny black stone radiating strange energy. Confrontation with the hunter. Suddenly, she heard heavy footsteps approaching. From the darkness emerged the hunter, the mysterious man the Mirage had warned her about. He wore a black cloak and carried a darkened lantern. He growled, "Give me the stone! It belongs to me, not you." Layan refused, but the hunter released shadows from his lantern, which transformed into black beasts trying to seize her. Battle of light and darkness. Using the black stone, Layan tried to repel the beasts. The stone emitted a powerful green light that pushed the shadows back, but the hunter was stronger. In a moment of despair, she remembered the river of light. She ran toward it and threw the stone into the river. The light exploded with force, releasing a wave of energy that knocked the hunter and the beasts aside. Chapter ending. Discovering the truth. After the light faded, Layan found herself standing before a large mirror on the chamber wall. The mirror showed a strange reflection. It wasn't just Layan, but another girl who looked exactly like her, wearing ancient clothes. The girl said, "I am Eleanor. I was here before." Before Layan could ask, the image vanished, and she heard the Mirage's voice. "The truth lies in the mirror, but it may cost you everything." Chapter 5. The Power of the Forest. Opening scene. The New Awakening. Layan woke up in a strange place, surrounded by colossal trees resembling those she had seen in the forest, but taller and denser. The green light she knew had vanished, replaced by a golden glow emanating from everything around her. She felt a new power flowing through her body, as if she'd become part of the forest itself. She heard the Mirage's voice, "You have become one of us. The power of the forest is now within you." Discovering the new power, Layan began to explore her new power. When she raised her hand, she saw how branches sprouted from her fingers as if she could control the trees. She tried touching a nearby tree, and suddenly, the tree began to move, bending before her. She whispered to herself, "This power, it's too great. How do I use it?" She heard Eleanor's voice, "Power is not for control, but for balance." The final confrontation with the hunter. Suddenly, the hunter appeared again, but this time he was stronger and fiercer. He said in a voice filled with anger, "I won't let you steal the forest's power." The hunter unleashed a wave of darkness that tried to engulf Layan, but she used her new power to repel the attack. The branches she released from her hand transformed into a wall of green light that pushed back the darkness. Discovering the full truth. After defeating the hunter, Layan heard the ancient tree's voice, "Now, you are part of the forest, and you must protect it. When Layan looked into the mirror again, she saw a new image. The forest was thriving and the trees were glowing with golden light, but in the center of the image, there was a dark spot hinting at an approaching danger. Chapter ending. A new beginning. Layan knew her journey wasn't over. She knew she had to protect the forest from the coming dangers, but she also knew her new power might cost her dearly. She whispered to herself, "I've become part of the forest now. This is the cost." Chapter 6. The approaching shadow. The dark spot. After the storm subsided, Layan stood before the mirror, staring at the dark spot that had appeared in the center of the image. The spot was slowly growing, as if swallowing the forest's golden light. She heard the Mirage's voice. "Danger is coming. You must be ready." Layan felt a deep unease, but she knew she had to face this new threat. Discovering the source of danger, Layan began exploring the forest, searching for the source of the dark spot. As she walked, she noticed the trees near the spot were withering, as if losing their strength. As she got closer, she found a black portal radiating sinister energy. The portal was slowly opening, as if preparing to devour everything. She whispered to herself, "This is the source of the danger. I must close it before it's too late." Encounter with the ancient guardians. Before she could approach the portal, a group of ancient beings appeared, resembling trees but stronger and wiser. One of them said, "This portal is an ancient threat. We tried to close it before, but we failed." Layan asked, "How can I close it?" The guardian replied, "You must enter the other world and destroy the energy source fueling it." Entering the other world, Layan decided to take the risk. She stepped into the black portal and found herself in a strange world where the sky was red and the ground was covered in ash. In the center of this world, she saw a black tree radiating malevolent energy. Layan knew this tree was the source of the dark spot. The final confrontation. As she approached the black tree, shadowy beasts emerged, trying to prevent her from reaching it. Layan used her new power to repel the attacks, but she felt her energy draining. In a moment of despair, she remembered the Mirage's words. "Power is not for control, but for balance." She decided to use her power differently. Instead of fighting the beasts, she tried to communicate with them, understanding the source of their anger. Chapter ending. A new balance. After calming the beasts, Layan reached the black tree. She placed her hand on its trunk and felt all the pain and anger fueling it. She said, "It's time to end this." Using her power, she destroyed the black tree and sealed the portal forever. Returned to the forest. After destroying the black tree and sealing the portal, Layan found herself back in the golden forest. The golden light was slowly returning, and the trees were thriving once again. The air was filled with the scent of wildflowers, as if the forest was reviving itself. She heard the Mirage's voice. "You saved the forest, but the cost was great." Layan looked at her hand and noticed her golden eyes glowing faintly. She knew her new power had changed her forever. Reunion with Grandmother Isabel. When Layan returned to the village, Grandmother Isabel was waiting for her. She looked at her with eyes full of understanding and wisdom, saying, "You have become part of something greater. The forest will always be with you." Layan smiled, knowing her journey wasn't over. She knew she had to protect the forest from future dangers, but she also knew her new power might cost her dearly. Story ending. A new beginning. On the final night, Layan stood at the edge of the forest, gazing at the stars. She heard the Mirage's voice. "The forest will not forget you. We will need you again one day." The camera pulls away from her home, revealing the hunter's shadow watching from afar, and the shattered lantern begins to glow anew. Thank you for watching our story today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to enjoy more fun stories. Share with us in the comments the names of characters or stories you'd like us to tell next. And don't forget to share the video with your friends and children so everyone can benefit. See you in a new story. Take care. Oh.